Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hacker. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a review of the 2010 Chateau Palmer. And this review is mostly going to be a wine review, not a lot of history. I've done previous videos on the 2012 Chateau Palmer and the 2006 Chateau Palmer, which goes through the history a bit more, which I'll put at the end of this video. So I'm mostly going to just do a review of the wine this time, and you can go back to those videos if you want to learn a little more history about it. So I'm just going to give you a brief history. Of course, Chateau Palmer was once part of Château Desmirail, and it was divided by the heirs of the Foix-Candale family in 1745. So 50 acres was given to the Gascq family. I went through in the other videos the reasons why I thought it was a third growth. There's a lot of factors that have affected it and why in 1855 it was a third growth. But most people now believe it is much higher quality, and of course the price of Chateau Palmer rivals most second growth wines at this point. Starting in 2009, they started to do proof tagging, and this wine does have a proof tag, so that's a good signal. The blend of the 2010 vintage is 54% Merlot, 40% Cabernet Sauvignon, and 6% Petit Verdot. So I did open this with a subscriber at one of my favorite places to eat, Gordon Ramsay Steak in Richmond. We did decant it, but I can tell you it was, to me, very tight that night. This has now been overnight for a couple of nights in the fridge, and it has opened up quite a bit. So let's do a tasting of this wine. So on the smell now, it's fully aerated, and I would suggest with this vintage, it is really, really tight. So I would actually probably hold it a little bit longer. 10 is a great vintage, and in general, with 2010 Bordeaux, I think they are a little bit strong, at least for my palate. The 9s, I think, are tasting a lot fleshier, and the 10s are really, really excellent wines, but probably a little bit more time. But now this has been fully aerated, so I get a lot of kirsch, black forest cake, plums, that type of smell to this. So it's quite aromatic right now, and that's really one of the signs of Chateau Palmer and the Margaux region wines. Very, very aromatic. Got a little bit of violets also on there, so a really nice aroma at this point. On the taste, really nice now after extended aeration. So classic Chateau Palmer taste and Margaux region taste. A lot of still dark fruit, but like plums, blackberries, and then milk chocolate. Again, that black foresty, almost glycerin type taste to it. I will note that this wine, more than the 6 and the 12, has this aftertaste. I'm not sure what it is. It could be licorice. It could be almost ash. It's almost like charcoal that's a little bit bitter on the aftertaste. And I don't know if that's just characteristic of the vintage, or maybe it just needs a little bit more time. But that to me is everything else about this wine is very smooth, and then there's a little aftertaste of almost like charcoal, tar, ash that is not quite pleasing to me. It's slightly too bitter. If it was a little bit sweeter, I would say it's glycerol, which I really enjoy. But so my rating of this wine is 92 points. Some people will say, Trophy, you had the 2006 and you rated it 93 points. You had the 2012, you rated like 97 points. What gives? You know, that's not, 2006, 12 were off vintage, 10 was a spectacular vintage. And all I can tell you is I'm just basing it on how I'm tasting it. And it just also depends on what level in the life cycle you had it. So the 12, I drank it at a time when it's just at its peak. The 6, I think that is the peak. Do I think that this is the peak for the 10? No, not even close. And so I think it will get better, but I just don't think it's there at this point. And right now, I rate it 92 points. And if you ask me today, I would prefer to drink the 12 and the 6 over this wine. That's not to say that this wine is not a good wine, or, long term will not rise to a score that's above the 2006. In fact, I think this has a lot more potential than the 6 and probably the 12, but I just got to catch it at the right time. So perhaps we'll try this again in 3 or 5 years. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy drinking.